The echoes beneath the ice. The cold was unbearable, but not nearly as chilling as the words that had sliced through my resolve like a blade. "You'll lose your mind, you know," my father had sneered, his voice heavy with the weight of disappointment. "This obsession of yours, this ridiculous pursuit of whispers under the ice, it's not healthy. You're chasing ghosts and you'll disgrace our family." I stood there, feeling the sting of his words wrap around me like a noose. Just moments before, I had shared the audio logs from my latest expedition, whispers that defied explanation, that spoke of something ancient and vast beneath the glaciers. But instead of wonder, I was met with derision. Years later, I returned home, not as the child they had belittled, but as a somber echo of what I once was. A renowned glacial acoustician, a title that came with its own kind of horror. I had unearthed truths that twisted the very fabric of reality, proving that the voices beneath the ice were not mere figments of madness. They were something real, something alive. As I approached the familiar house, I felt the weight of my family's expectations pressing down on me. The laughter that once echoed in these halls had faded, replaced by an uneasy silence. They had expected me to return broken, an outcast, but they would see the truth I had unearthed, a truth they had scorned. I pushed open the door, and the familiar scent of home enveloped me, bittersweet and suffocating. My mother looked up from the kitchen, her eyes wide in disbelief. "You came back," she said, her voice trembling. She had always been the one to protect me from the harshness of my father's words, but even she was caught in the web of doubt. "Of course I did," I replied, trying to muster the warmth of a welcome. "I found something important." My father entered the room, his expression a mix of skepticism and concern. "You're still on about those whispers? You can't honestly believe." "Believe me," I interrupted, urgency creeping into my tone. "You need to see what I've recorded. It's not just sounds, it's a language, a warning." He scoffed, dismissing me with a wave of his hand. "This is ridiculous, and you're embarrassing yourself. We've moved on from your little fantasies." But I wasn't here to convince him. I had come to show them the real consequences of their disbelief. I retrieved my recorder from my bag, its surface scratched and worn from years of use. As I pressed play, the quiet hum of the room was soon filled with the haunting whispers, echoes of something ancient, something that had been lying dormant beneath the ice. The voices twisted through the air, a cacophony of sorrow and rage. I watched their faces change as the sound enveloped them, their mockery replaced with confusion, then fear. My father's bravado faltered, and my mother's hands trembled as she gripped the edge of the table. And then I heard it, the low, resonant growl that had haunted my dreams. It was a sound I had captured during my last expedition, deep beneath the ice, where shadows danced and the darkness breathed. I had thought it was merely an echo, but now I knew it was something far more sinister. "Stop it!" my father shouted suddenly, his voice a desperate plea. "Turn it off. This isn't funny." But I couldn't stop. I had to show them. As the recording played on, the temperature in the room plummeted, the air thickening with dread. I watched as their eyes darted around, searching the corners of the room as if the shadows themselves might come alive. And then it happened. A crackling sound erupted from the walls, a low rumble that resonated with the whispers. My family's faces turned pale, their eyes wide in horror, as the very foundation of our home seemed to tremble in response to the voices I had brought back with me. "Please," my mother cried, tears streaming down her cheeks. "We're sorry. We believed you. Just make it stop." But I couldn't. I was no longer the child who sought approval. I was the harbinger of knowledge they had scorned, and I would not turn back now. The whispers grew louder, morphing into a chorus of agony. As if the very ice had begun to weep. I could see shadows moving in the corners of my vision, dark shapes that writhed and twisted, drawn to the sound. My family huddled together, their laughter now a distant memory, replaced by the palpable terror that surrounded us. In that moment, I felt a sense of vindication wash over me. The years of ridicule, the constant reminders of my supposed insanity, all of it had led to this. I had survived what they could not comprehend, and now they were faced with the terrifying reality of my truth. As the recording reached its climax, the shadows coalesced into something tangible, a dark mass that seemed to pulse with life. My family recoiled as it loomed over them, a manifestation of everything they had dismissed. I felt a chill run down my spine, not from fear, but from the realization that they would finally understand the weight of their disbelief. The shadows whispered back, a symphony of voices that echoed my own research, my own tormented journey. They reached toward my family, and for the first time, they truly saw the echoes beneath the ice were not just sounds. They were a warning, a reckoning. And then, silence. The recording stopped, and the shadows retreated, leaving my family trembling and breathless. The truth hung heavy in the air, a reminder of the cost of their ridicule. They had mocked me, but now they stood before the evidence of my survival, a testament to the horrors I had faced and the knowledge I had gained. I looked at them, my heart heavy with a mixture of sorrow and triumph. This is what you doubted. This is what I've become. As I turned to leave, I felt the weight of their gazes upon me, a mixture of fear and newfound respect. The echoes of my journey would forever haunt their memories. A chilling reminder of the price of disbelief. Outside, the world remained unchanged, but I was no longer the same. I had faced the depths of darkness and emerged with a truth that would reverberate through time, a truth they could never ignore again. And as I stepped into the cold air, I couldn't help but feel the echoes of the ice whispering behind me, a haunting melody of both warning and vindication.